Hi Boyd, how are you?
Doing really well. How you doing, Rachel? Good to see you.
Good to see you. So to start, I want to ask, the minute I saw the guitar go up, I kind of screamed in the theater because I was like, he's doing it. He's doing the Johnny Cash move. But
Right.
how does, that or the hair, the sunglasses, whatever it is, kind of help you really get into that mindset and like be Johnny Cash in that moment?
Mhm. Well, I through, researching all this, you start to find out what are the things that make up this like impression of this character, this icon of Johnny Cash, and he loved shooting the guitar at the audience. He loved it, and he loved, and then from that, it really got a sense of what his sense of humor was all about and how playful and like a little rascal Johnny Cash was.
Yeah, and I also too one of my favorite lines in this whole movie is when Pete Seeger says that Bob Dylan is making folk music worldwide now, which I would argue there were people that were doing it first, but it was just that Bob was bringing new songs. That's what Monica and I talked about yesterday. But how was it for you, in a modern sensibility where kind of how folk music has evolved, getting to film those scenes where they're at the folk festival and they're on these stages and all these people are cheering for songs that like we now know so well in our kind of lexicon of songs.
Yeah, well, I think it was in when everything was driving up to the tipping point where, broadcast was really, electricity was really um, coming to the focal point too of how broad of a spectrum that could get out and how much music was now going from airwaves to states to overseas and really expanding in that wave in that particular time um, of the era of folk music and when that was happening. So Newport 64 and especially 65. I mean, 65 was the tipping point when Bob broke the seal and the flood of electricity just spread out and washed the audience away.
Mhm.
So very important and very honored to be a part of celebrating these people's lives.
Well, and I want to ask you about Mangold because I love when you pop up in a Mangold movie. It makes me very, very happy. I'm a bitch with an Indiana Jones tattoo. So I was like, this is rules. But what I love is that all of these characters that you've played in James Mangold's world are so, so different and unique. What are those conversations like when you start? I know obviously Johnny Cash is kind of a different thing entirely, but how do you
Mhm.
guys kind of figure out those roles and how different you're going to make each one when you guys work together?
I found out all three are radically different, but the process to get there with Jim and how Jim makes his movies are all pretty much the same. They're incredibly fiercely passionate. And the scale that he makes a movie at, you can try out all these different things. With Logan, we kind of kept getting it cosmetically and through costume until that's it. It looks right, and then we added like the blue blocker sunglasses, and that was now that's it. With Indiana Jones, I tried to do someday I will push it in there. This John Cazale, um, the actor who I'm
Mhm.
such a fan of. His look, I thought that look would kind of be good for this creepy, sidekick. And it didn't work. And then we scaled it back to this, high top, flat top sort of classic, look. And then the same thing with John, this was, you kept trying things out until it visually like that's it. And that's just something that can only be done on site, on hand, with these amazing people that Jim surrounds himself and insulates his films with, and they're reoccurring. So you have friendly faces, and he sets up these gigantic, almost like Coliseum arena events that are day after day of, the clear threshold of stepping from set and to on set, these places that he allows people to perform, especially.
Yeah, I love this movie. I know I am impartial, But I love this movie very, very dearly. I think it is so, so good. And thank you so much for talking with me today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the support.
Yeah, of course. Have a great one.
All right, Rachel. Later.
Bye.